Hey everybody, you are about to watch our Jessica Jones Season 3 review right now. Stick around, it's going to be awesome. We're doing everything Jessica Jones. Full spoilers ahead.
Starting now. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Jersey Comic Krew, your favorite comic book and pop culture podcast. As always, pay attention to the script down below, or even the title, because we're talking about Jessica Jones Season 3.
Jessica!
As always, I'm Rob Moran, and with me is the great
Chris Heller.
And we got a great episode for you. Are you guys ready? Because I know I am.
I'm ready.
So,
Bittersweet.
Jessica Jones Season 3, the last season, the finale.
Yes.
So, in the last scene, I want to talk... No, I do want to talk about that last
All
scene.
that matters is...
All that matters is that it's over.
No, it's bittersweet.
So,
this is the last of the Marvel Netflix universe. So
initial reactions as the season as a whole. Liked it? Didn't like it? I liked it.
I liked it. You probably have a better grasp on it than I do at the moment. I'm still figuring it out. I'm still figuring out my personal feelings about it. I liked a lot of it, and I didn't like a lot of it at the same time.
Okay.
Thought it was way better than Season 2.
Yes.
Not as good as Season 1, if that's fair to say.
I don't know if I could say that.
I still love Season 1 better. I don't think you could beat Purple Man, personally.
I think that's why, but like...
I did like Fool Killer, though.
Yeah, I liked Fool Killer. As a whole, as looking at it as a big picture, I think I might have liked this one a little bit more.
I don't... I'm
saying might. I don't think I do. I'm just saying. I think there's an argument to be made.
Ooh. I thought... here's where I'm confused, and not confused, but still trying to figure out. My problem with Season 3 was Trish, 100%.
So...
It got to the point where it was annoying, and it was almost too obvious, and I'm like, either shut her down or move on. Like, I just want to see the serial killing, assassination, Fool Killer stuff, and Jessica reeling with that stuff, which was awesome.
I think what they should have done with the show.
I could care less about the Eric guy.
Eric guy was fine. Hold on, before we get into those nitty gritty.
Yeah.
I want to look at big picture stuff.
Totally.
First. So with Fool Killer, I think he should have been a Season 1 villain. Hear me out.
Okay.
Just switch him. Fool Killer Season 1. You have Purple Man last season.
You're saying because they blew their load in the first season with the biggest villain.
Correct. Also with Fool Killer, you get a very deep story focused on Jessica Jones, on how a human with high intelligence, not a meta, meta's DC words, not a superhero, no powers, how he could take down this, and then you have the introduction of, we don't like that your kind has powers. You know, it relates kind of to the Marvel Universe, and it doesn't in the same aspect. They just refer to it as the incident. So like, all you heroes are just alike, and you have that arc. Then you could go into the second arc with the mother, which wasn't great, but I think it would have been a nice progression, and then the final arc with the whole, she doesn't know what's real or not. She's been through everything. I think would have hit harder having the Purple Man in Season 3 than Season 1.
I mean, yes, again, hindsight 2020 always, right? Like,
I would have told him that even before.
I can agree with that too. I can agree with like, hey, use your biggest villain for the end. But what we have is this.
I think I'm sorry to cut you off before you go on, but I think the reason they did Purple Man first, they didn't have confidence in themselves.
Yeah.
That
they
Jessica Jones
wanted to draw people in, and they had the name.
Well, yeah, him. But
David Tennant.
But even that aside, I don't think they had the confidence in themselves to be like, people are going to watch this detective story with her facing somebody without powers in a Season 1. But I think if they did this season, minus the Trish stuff, because obviously Trish would have to happen later or not even at all during these 3 seasons. I would have rather had Trish happen, her arc, happen in Season 2.
So here's my issue with this.
That's how I would rearrange
So,
everything.
regardless of what we could make it better, we could always make it better. This is what we have.
Fair enough. All right, so we're going into nitty-gritty right now?
Well, Season 3 as a whole, you had a lot of really good moments, and the best part of Jessica Jones to me personally, whether it's TV show, comics, the Alias comics, the Jessica Jones comics.
She fucks Luke Cage.
That, yes. But 100%.
That sex scene in Season 1 is still the best.
This is the best.
It's like, she's like, I can take it. He's like, oh, yeah, you can.
You practice to it. Rob's taking notes. Like, oh, okay.
I was like, first become invulnerable. Check. I'm still working on that
Number
part.
Invulnerability.
I'm like 3/4 of the way there. You do enough alcohol, you think you are. So
I think
I have the mindset.
The best part of Jessica is the fact that she is a blue true detective. I think the best parts of the show are when she's looking through clues and investigating and staking out and connecting the pieces when we have the internal monologue of what she's doing. Mm-hmm. To me, that is the best part of the show. It's not the fight stuff. It's not, because most of it's easy, right? She just throws people and that's it. Yeah. Like the best part of her aspect to me is her actual job and how that takes a toll on her as a person. Like I said, so I think Fool Killer was awesome for that. I get why they chose him in the position they were, right? Last season, this was the only Marvel show in its last season that knew they were done after this. They knew that this was the last season, that they had to close it out, that they weren't getting renewed, so we have to end this. I think Fool Killer is the right choice for that, even though in the comics he's like a D-list villain. He's more of an assassin. He's not really a serial killer.
I don't think there's any problem with the villain choice.
No, I don't either. I think my issue came with the overbearing, stupidity of Trish Walker, where it was blatantly unthought out. It was blatantly just.
You think it was that bad?
Yeah, it was just narrow-minded. Like, I'm doing this because I want to be like you, and you do it out of, your job, and you pretend like you don't like it, and I want to do this, so I'm going to do it, and I will connect this to the end, which to me was like the dumbest line I've ever heard in a show.
Which was
when Trish finally gets arrested. Spoilers. Trish finally gets arrested after their fight, and she hides in a coffin.
I kind of like that scene.
Which was whatever. They go through the rigmarole. The Costa, who's the cop who Jessica is friends with, is reading all the charges. Mm-hmm. And Trish goes, "I'm the bad guy," and realizes that she's been wrong this whole time. No shit. Come on.
I didn't have a problem let me rephrase. I didn't have as big a problem with her because from season 1, season 2, she's been very two-dimensional. I don't think she had a lot to go on. In season 2, they
part of the problem.
Yeah. But you don't always need a character that is super in-depth. I'm just saying. Some characters are just there for the means.
You don't, but when it's a second character, when you are the second to main character on the show, you need some depth.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
But from season 1, I kind of view her as like, oh, she's like this. And they kind of gave her some depth in season 2 with the whole, oh, you know what, my sister has all these powers. I'm upset. I wish I had these powers. I would do these things. Cool. Now season 3, I have these powers. These are what I would do. And I'm just gonna keep going and going and going, and I get it.
It's predictable, but it doesn't mean it's bad because it's predictable.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
What makes it bad is we get it. Trish is an addict. She's a recovering addict.
Yes,
she was.
They needed to play on that a little bit more.
They kind of did
touched
in
upon it.
The fact that she was an addict and she goes from one addiction to the other, right? And we saw the same thing with Malcolm. Trish was a drug addict.
Malcolm, by the way, I think was great in the beginning, and then they kind of washed him out
because there wasn't enough screen time for him because they were dealing with Trish.
We'll get to Malcolm after this.
But
go ahead.
I think with Trish by herself, and we'll talk Trish now to get her out of the way.
Yes, get her out of the way.
She was an addict. She was, like I said, drug addict. Now her addiction is the power she has,
fighting
what she
crime
can do with them. That's why she works out relentlessly and is fighting relentlessly, and she's at the park scene where she's doing her parkour shit.
Which I like the little montage of her working out. It was fine.
It's all right.
Montages are great.
And then she's doing her thing, and she's kind of gaining that confidence. And
how great was it in the costume store? Not only the Captain Marvel cameo kind of thing, she put on the suit, but the original Hellcat and
the Wildcat. She put on the original Wildcat. I was like, no way.
She's like, absolutely not.
That was great. And I was like, Wildcat.
That was really good.
That was great. But her arc, again, the beginning of this season, she's basically telling Jessica, "Yeah, I killed your mom. Get over it."
Yeah,
fuck you.
She had it to be done. Yeah,
it had to be done. You killed my mother. Fuck you. That's all That's all it is. You're lucky I don't kill you.
But what is Trish? What else is Trish gonna say? Because she believes she's right in her decision.
But that's the thing. There was no depth to it. The reasoning behind it was it had to be done.
Yeah.
There was no conversation. And this show, regardless of the powers that Jessica has, regardless of the strength, is a lot of conversation. It's a lot of talking things out. The investigative
That's not a bad
mental.
thing.
No, it's not.
Okay.
But I'm saying, like, if you're basing a show on that, where it's, you know, we get through our shows through talking and through conversating and figuring things out, and it's a lot of mental stuff. Wouldn't you have that in-depth conversation that isn't like her like writing a shitty email that she retracts? Like, the only conversation was after the scene where they find the bodies in that the oil tanker, at the train yard, where it's like, listen, I had to do, like, I understand this, and then they kind of like reconcile it quickly. And I'm like, really? That's it? Like, that's how you're reconciling this? Like, she killed your mom, and you're reconciling it this way? Like, this whole show's based on, like, detective work, figuring things out, talking things through. And they kind of cut that huge chunk out of, like, I killed your mom, get over it. Okay. I was upset with
They
that.
should have focused more on that. I agree.
Like, and you don't need a whole episode on it, but you need to, like, have that 10-minute acting dialogue of getting through things. And I think that set me down a path with Trish where I was like, I'm kind of done with you. Like, I don't give a shit anymore. Like, everything she views is so single-mindedly, like, her logic is flawed on every level.
Well,
she sees everything. Obviously, like, this is where the path that we were hinted that she was going down this path, right?
Correct.
Season 2, obviously she kills Jessica's mom. You know, she wants she always wanted to be like Jessica with her powers, even though she was rich and famous. It didn't matter because she wanted her to
I
have
thought
a
Phil
meaning
Killer
and
was
yada,
going to,
yada,
like,
yada.
corrupt her.
Which he did. He finished the job.
More so. I thought it was going to be more of a direct, like, I'm making sure my goal is to take her and twist her into
killing
a
her
monster.
mom is pretty direct.
No, Full Killer twisting.
Like
Trish.
her working with Fool Killer?
Yeah, no, well, unintentionally. Like, I think it would have been more of a mastermind. Like, all right, I'm going to make sure. Like, there was hints of it there. He did parts of it.
Yeah.
But I thought it would have been a bigger emphasis to get Trish to become the villain.
I'm okay with his, like, almost like Dark Knight Jokerization of her.
Okay.
Where he, you know, like, Fool Killer I actually really liked.
Yeah. He killed her mom. It was great.
He killed Dorothy. I did not see that one coming.
No.
And Trish's reaction was the last thread that snapped.
Which makes sense.
Which makes 100% sense. But to me, I was like, oh, this is very, like, Dark Knight Joker. Like, he brought Harvey Dent down to his level. That was his goal. He wanted Gotham's White Knight. And we're like, the whole movie, it's Batman. He's going to do something to Batman. And it wasn't. It was what you do in the light of day. And Batman figures it out too late. And Jessica figures it out too late. And he already got to Trish. And that was the thread that he needed to bring Trish down to his level and make Jessica make an impossible decision. That's what good villains do. They make the hero make impossible choices that affect them forever. And I was totally okay with that. I'm like, okay, maybe we'll get some, like, interesting Trish stuff where, like, he brought it down to his level, but again, it was the same thing, just darker, right? Like, it was the same aspect.
Yeah.
Like, she's already doing this. Now she's just killing people. Where she's already killed before, so, like, why are we surprised this is new?
True. We see her working with Eric,
Yes.
right? And, like, Eric kind of agrees, like, all right, we go get to the bad men, and they go, and they kill the one guy accidentally. And then he's like, this feels great. Like, the badness is gone. Like, the world is better.
Yes.
And she's like, all right, that's validation to her. Like, oh, you sense bad. You don't sense any bad from me. This guy is dead. World is better. This is good. I'm becoming a good person.
She gets validation for what she's doing.
Correct.
Yep.
Which even me, as, like, a more intelligent person than Trish, obviously, in the show, and you, we're like, all right, we kill her. We kill this person. The world's better. You don't think I'm bad. Oh. It's almost like a Punisher mentality.
Exactly. Like,
right?
They almost made Trish a shitty Punisher.
I don't think it was that shitty. I think, like, there was enough justification throughout the whole series to be like, okay, that's why she liked this. She got justification we see because of this. We saw her tragic backstory. You know, she was forced to do a role. She's an adrenaline junkie, an addiction addict. Oh my God, what words am I saying? She's an addict, and her new addiction is, you know, using these powers to save people, trying to make the world better. She doesn't agree with Jessica. She thinks her mother was a monster, had to be stopped, which I get. You know, everybody has their own opinion on what's something like that happens.
But it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. But and Jessica says it. What makes you the authority? What makes you decide? And, like, her whole thing is, you have these powers and you don't do anything. And they not one time. I wanted them to one time give Jessica the line, almost like the Superman line of, like, yes, I have all these powers. It's harder to not do anything with them
I would have
than
liked
do
that.
something without them.
I would have liked that.
It is harder to know you can do all of these things and you could end this and you could kill them immediately and you could stop this, but you don't do it. And you have to live with the fact that you don't do it for the next person they kill.
I feel like if they had a 10-minute conversation, you wouldn't be this upset with Trish. I think if they would have fully addressed the mother's death,
that would have helped.
I think you would have very little problem. Like, I have very little problem with her because I can see it.
But my other issue is this. Like, so what was predictable was, like, obviously...
Her becoming the villain?
Well, but, like, that was fine. That was a predictability that was inevitable.
Okay.
The predictability that I didn't like was the fact that, like, you had Trish in this aspect of, like, okay, now she's killing people with Eric who, you know, can tell the evil in people and it hurts him. Here nor there.
Really? Okay.
He was fine. But he makes good burgers. That's a plus.
I thought he was the villain at first.
Well, in the comics, he is. He's a villain.
Eric is a villain.
He's in 2 books, and it's Daredevil. It's like Daredevil 133. He's like mind melder, mind bender, some weird name.
Okay.
And he has like almost like a sonic mind
No,
blast.
I thought he was working. Let me rephrase. I thought he was working for Full Killer.
I did too. I did too. I thought he was working for Full Killer as well. For like a second there, and then when Jessica wasn't trusting him, I was like, oh, something's gonna happen. So, like, we knew once he was helping Trish, and Trish was going to go down this path, that eventually he was like, all right, he's going to sense in her what he senses in other people.
Correct.
That she hurts. Like, she's going to become this.
Dark.
And he's going to do this. You have the scene...
She made him bleed, just like Full Killer, and she started realizing, oh, maybe I am the villain.
Exactly. You have that scene where where Jessica brings him in and tries to, like, reason with her, which is fine. Like... Which made sense. Like, look what you're... Look.
Yeah.
He has this power, and you are sensing it. And still she's like, no. And then...
that's confirmation bias. She's doubling down on herself.
But you have that scene, and then you have the scene where she's like, I'm the villain? Like, come on, man. Like, you had this too... You basically had the reading of the murders twice.
Okay.
You had it with Eric.
Yes.
With the nose and eyes bleeding, and like, dude, you are clearly not a good person anymore. You have gone down this path that Full Killer wanted you to go down.
She was still a bad person in denial.
In denial,
then she finally accepted with a dumb line.
And
she's also blonde. I mean, come on. I'm kidding. I'm so kidding. I'm so kidding, people
That's
out
great.
there.
But then, again, like, she has that scene, and then you have the scene with Costa where he's reading attempted murder in the first degree, murder in the second degree, breaking and entering, a battery, assault, all this stuff. I'm the bad guy. Like, yeah, no shit.
But I think that's what the reaction they wanted us to be like, yeah, no shit. We've been seeing it for this whole time. It's just that she finally understands and accepts it.
I just wasn't a fan of it.
Okay, I get that.
It was just too many singularities that, like, balled up into... I needed more depth and reasoning that was not on screen to accept it. I thought in the first season she was great.
Yes.
I thought season 2 she was really annoying, and this season I was like, please just go away.
Okay.
So we can focus on Full Killer and Jess and my favorite person in this season, Jerry Hogarth.
Before we get to Hogarth, because
Yes.
I want to talk about her a lot. I have some issues with her.
Yep.
But I'm going to go to Malcolm.
Let's do Malcolm.
So, Malcolm, like
Sexy
I said...
motherfucker.
Yeah.
Good looking dude.
Very good looking. I was like, oh, okay.
He was hitting everything.
Yeah. In the beginning of the season, great.
Yes.
I thought he was very good. Like, you saw him do as, like, the fix-it guy. He hated it. He felt dark. Even Eric was like, yeah, he's like 30%. I don't know. Like, because Malcolm's done some dark things for these people, and, like, he can't deal with it anymore. And then, like, all of a sudden, like, he's like, all right, I have to break up with the girlfriend. I thought that was just, that felt forced to me.
It didn't feel forced because she was useless to begin with, to me.
I mean, yeah, but it was like him, like, finally becoming okay.
Well, here's the thing.
That was her point.
Well, with Malcolm in season 2, Jessica had a great line where she talked about, you know, he went from one addiction to another, right? He was a huge drug addict. That's why him and Trish kind of connected in season 2. And
they boned
a lot. And then Jess gave him the job, and he was helping Jess out. And then he went from that to, like, slamming every chick he could find. And that was his second, like, his sex addiction was, like, the second round.
Yes.
So season 3, like, he's got a steady girlfriend that he's in love with.
Steady job.
Yeah, cool. Like, I don't care about Jerry Hogarth Jr. because you're never going to be as good as Jerry when it comes to those, like, lawyer stuff.
Oh, okay.
So her arc there, and then, like, in the beginning I was kind of hopeful because I was like, okay, she's not just going to be, like, the annoying girlfriend role where it's like, hey, I'm here to
they also
make
should
your
have
life
developed her a little
complicated
bit
and
more.
annoying.
Yeah.
But they didn't have time. Like, you know what I mean? And even with 13 episodes, like, you don't care after a while. She was like doing more lawyer stuff, and I thought it would have been cool if she found out what Malcolm was doing for Jerry. And that conflict, but she never did.
That would have been nice.
So then it kind of went
she found
from
the
that.
tape and erased it for him.
That was good.
To save her.
That was good.
Well, to save him from her. But they should have had that third conflict. We're like, all right, I see what you're doing. Are
And
you
she
okay?
draws her line in the sand with work, and even though they're doing stuff for bad people, which lawyers deal with all the time.
Him getting a blowjob from Eric's sister and turning down the phone, I was like, all right, this is really, do we care?
Yes, because it shows his self-destructiveness, which leads to more addiction.
Okay. But he didn't get, and I mean, he didn't like. There was no addiction after that. Like,
no,
he started
but like
being clean.
he explains it and he talks it out with Trish, and like when they chain her up to her own house, and that was a good scene. Like, because him and Trish didn't have a scene besides like, I know what you're doing. You're shitty now. Oh, you really? I'm shitty. You're shitty. And it was like, okay, who cares?
Yeah.
But then,
You're both shitty.
Yeah, you're both shitty. But Malcolm was the one who realized it and got out of it. And Malcolm starts helping Jess again and starts, when he starts helping Jess, you're kind of like, is he really helping Jess a little? Is there a sinister thing?
That would have been nice.
Does he have his own agenda?
I just felt like he was very bland. He was solid but bland.
He was bland in the season. Season 2.
In the beginning, he was better. Like,
Season 2, he was like the best part.
Yes.
He really shined. Season 3, they really had to focus on the Jessica Trish Fool Killer stuff.
So let's talk about Jerry Hogarth.
My favorite character this season, hands down.
Very good character. Yep. Not my favorite character.
Her and Jess this season.
I think my favorite was Fool Killer. But talking about Jerry Hogarth.
Yep.
Very upset that they set up something and it did not pay off.
The ALS.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The ALS, they kept hinting at it. It was fine. She had this whole scene where she talks to Jessica. If I get too bad, I need you to do this and take me out. I'm like, okay, we're going to see that, or at least Jessica deal with that later in the season. Like, no, I'm not going to do this, or at least think about it. Mm-hmm. Nothing after that conversation.
There was no full circle come around for that as well. I agree 100%.
I feel like, and that was such a big part of her character because she used the ALS as a motivation to reach out to, her former lover, to break them up because she didn't have time. She fell in love with them. Mm-hmm. So like this big looming threat that she had, there was no real payoff for her dying. I didn't need her to die. I just wanted at least Jessica to have that conversation like, oh, maybe I should do this. No, I'm not. I'm just going to let her be. Like, it didn't come full circle when that was her main motivation and her driving factor, aside from her wanting to be one of the best attorneys on the market, defending Fool Killer.
Which I think she already was. She was known as...
No, but I'm saying,
Jerry
like, that's who she is. Right?
Yeah.
Like, she's defending herself, like, defending evil clients. Her defending Fool Killer, like, I get that. That was cool. It was a great aspect. Like, everything else was great, but the fact that didn't come Fool Killer when that's her motivation factor, really upsetting. And I was like, all right, you had... And that's why she's not my favorite.
Okay.
Because you build her up, and I was like, all right, her core of her character we did not address.
Let me fix what I said.
Go ahead.
She was my favorite story arc in this season, not favorite character of the season.
Story arc. Okay.
Yes, like her story arc was great. I think the lengths she went to and all the things that happened on the way of just fucking people's lives up, of ruining families and going from trying to get Kith back by doing what she does because
caused Kith's husband to kill himself.
Arguably, Jerry's a lawyer first before anything else. Like her job is controlled every aspect of her life, right? Like she is, she wants things and she gets them done no matter what the cost. Yeah. And she's like, I can do that with my love life. I can do that with my personal life. That's what I've always done. Mm-hmm. I have ALS. I'm on borrowed time right now.
I'm on a time clock.
I'm on a time clock. I need to get this, and this done before I fucking die. And I need to make sure that this person is mine before I die. And she went on that time clock, and
Kith was great.
Kith was a good character too. And you had the, I think they went a little too long with the
back and forth.
Not even the back and forth. The kind of like the silence of not talking after he died because you wanted to see kind of what was happening.
I'm fine with it. Like I wouldn't change anything with the story except for that.
I would have liked a little more conflict because it was so crazy.
I mean, with the son there, that was huge.
That was good. Maybe like Kith sues Jerry back, or like find something out like with someone else, with one of Jerry's old like employees. That happens. But yeah, like the
or maybe Kith finds out about the ALS on her own and confronts her about it. Like, am I just
maybe
something? I mean, that would have been nice. That would have been really elevated her character. Can you imagine like Kith and like, oh, are you here after all this time just because you're dying? Do you even love me? And then Jerry goes into that monologue how she loves her.
And that's why like
nice.
I was when you binge watch a Netflix show like this, sometimes you meld some of the episodes together.
Well, yeah.
I was like, wait, didn't they have the ALS conversation after they like boned?
No.
Or deboned? But like when you have that conflict and then the husband and then he commits suicide and you have Malcolm going investigating him and then he finds the crazy stuff about their foundation for their like deceased daughter, which is crazy dark.
Wow. Yeah.
That to me is the aspect of like, holy shit, like this is going to be a really good story. Jerry is selfishly doing the right thing, right? Like she's finding out about this guy's craziness and what he's doing would be the right thing to do to bring that to light and have him pay for it.
Yeah.
In a lawyer's aspect, right? Like that's more on the right side. But
lawyers are more reactive, not proactive.
Exactly. So proactively searching that out is almost like the detective work and like kind of what Jessica does, right?
Yeah.
And remember, Jessica was a huge motivator for Jerry. Remember in season 1 where she's like, you are the woman face of our future. Like you are the face, whether you want to or not. You are superpowered. You're a woman. You're going to be a feminist icon. And Jessica's like, yeah, fuck off. I don't care. But like, that's like Jerry had respect for someone for the first time in her life that wasn't involved in a romance, that wasn't involved in trying to fuck over lawyerly or get money from. Jessica was that person. So like that, which is why she reaches out to Jessica about the death thing, like you were talking about. But when you talk about the aspect of what Jerry did, it's almost like, hey, I'm doing kind of the right thing for the most selfish, wrong reason on the planet, right? Mm-hmm. And then it snowballs and it grows and the lies keep piling up. And what happens? It has no legs to stand on and it falls down in her own face. I thought that was a great story.
I thought she was going to lose her empire.
I didn't think that. I thought the ALS was going to affect her really late on. Like when they were setting up Trish, I thought it was going to be like she's going to be so overwhelmed with Trish that she like collapses.
That would have been great.
And she's in a hospital bed, and then you had that kiss scene where she's like, "You're going to die alone. I know you want me to love you, but I'm not going to because you're a piece of shit, and you're going to die alone."
Oh, that would have hit
and
hard.
she's like in a hospital bed and can't talk or move.
That would have hit
and she has
hard.
no control. That would have been crazy dark. Not saying like wanting to see that isn't something I would say because it's so like real world issue.
I think I want to see it. I think I wanted to see it.
But seeing that would have been crazy powerful, even more powerful than the scene we did see. That again, like you're gonna die alone and leaves her, and she kind of had it. Like she tried to get up and chase her, but couldn't and fell on the stool.
Yeah, and that even was downplayed.
Yeah. So, but I love Jerry this season.
They might have been afraid to touch the subject,
which I can understand. I
get
can't blame him for that.
I get it.
I personally love Jerry
Wait,
this season.
There was like they do murder. If you do murder, you could talk about disease.
I guess, but like I really liked that Jerry went from like kind of the cameo role from like Jessica to like getting the stuff from Rand Corp, and she's the Rand,
she lost in the Rand.
She's the Rand lawyer, and she's like, where's Danny? Oh, he's not in the country. Blah blah blah.
Speaking of that, crossovers, right? You talk about like her and Rand, and like they were like, oh, I'm taking Rand from you 2/3 of your business. And we saw Luke Cage. Nice little cameo.
Nice cameo, but pointless.
Correct. Correct.
Excited to see him because I love Mike Coulter.
Yes.
I think he is like the perfect Luke Cage personification.
If he came in,
love that he was in a gold suit.
If he came in to be her love interest and played a role.
If he came in at the if they extended that last episode but I can't say instead of doing the scene where she goes to the bus station because then you get the stuff we'll talk about at the very end of this.
She can still have that.
You can still have that she comes home and maybe he's like waiting there like saying like, hey, I went through this too, and like she just like either collapses in his arms or they have like a moment where they're just clinking a drink together and they're just chilling there.
Yeah, like bros, but we all know what happens.
Very romantic.
And then she could always think to herself, is this even real? Because then she sees. Well, exactly. let's instead of being around the bush, let's talk about that end scene to finish that thought.
Let's do it. Go ahead.
Afterwards, Trish goes to jail.
Mm-hmm.
She gets stabbed in, which I thought was crazy. Everything's said and done. She gives the keys to Malcolm. Like, it's all yours. LS investigations. Cool. She leaves, goes to the bus station, wants to get a train out of there. Sees a purple light. Hears a purple man's voice.
And as the bus ticket's sliding on the counter, it goes all purple.
Exactly.
And I got very, very excited.
I did too.
A little too excited, if
and
you know what I
then
mean.
she decided, nope, she's going to stay here. But she doesn't say anything, a word. She just turns around, and then it, like, fades out.
Mm-hmm.
Powerful. But if she would have went back home, to see Luke Cage and stuff like that, that would have taken away from that scene.
Here's my itty-bitty issue with that scene.
He's alive. I think he's alive.
Here's my itty-bitty issue with that scene, right? Yes, it's a great scene because it gets people talking and it gets you, like, invested still in the show once it's over. But if you're saying to me this show's not coming back, it's done, it's over.
Why?
And you do that huge tease at the end, like the biggest tease on the planet of, like...
For Jessica Jones.
And it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I thought you were ending it. Like you could have...
I don't think these shows are done.
I hope not. I hope you were right, Rob.
I think they're going to come back on a DC.
If I hope you were right about anything, I hope it's that.
No, I've definitely said a lot of other cool things that you should have right.
No, I'm saying I hope out of everything you said, I hope this is what you'd be right about. Because I think these shows have a lot more life to give.
Yeah.
I think especially Daredevil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think Daredevil could go for crazy amounts. You could do Owlsley. You could do all these characters.
Ooh, Owlsley would be great.
Yeah,
Owlsley's a gangster. Looks like an owl.
The owl man, yeah, he's got like mutton chops that are really long. Works
cool.
for Kingpin. You could. That's easy. So
yeah.
Like,
Kingpin's gone, and they go into more of the.
And Owlsley is like his second in command.
Or not even that. They could go into like the different gangs and territories of it. Like
Totally.
we saw that a little bit.
Yeah.
And Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Right. We saw the different triad in the group. You could do that same kind of thing with Daredevil, but like more of like, all right, there's Owlsley and then Hammerhead, and you could do a little bit more of the.
Yeah, you can bring in Spider-Man
names.
villains that are crossover with Daredevil all the time.
With Jessica, her arc, like, all right, what's the arc in the future? Now that Trish is gone, nothing weighing her down, you could go into the Luke Cage side of things.
Yeah, you go into
like if their love starts to bloom, like their whole arc, her dealing with Purple Man, and like Luke is like, what's real, what's not, and then you have two people who could destroy anything but can't because of this.
What if the Purple Man wasn't just alive, but by killing him, Purple Man almost like has a Brainiac effect where he's like inside, he's a part of Jessica now. Like his essence can't die, and a part of him is controlling her until he finds a new host.
I hate that.
Really?
I like it, but I want David Tennant back.
I mean, we get David Tennant back, but like until he finds a host.
Yeah, a new host unless it's David Tennant.
That's true. Unless
she killed
Lazarus Pit.
No, not even that. Easy. Purple Man, David Tennant was not really him.
Oh, I even thought of something better.
So like, hold on. Let me get through my
yours,
theory.
yours.
All right. So like, to Jessica and the world, he
Charlie.
had everybody under, so that person looked like him.
Yeah.
Was him. Everybody believed it was him, and he gave orders to him that says people will listen to you like they listen to me. Essentially transferring his own power to that person, and it being this whole thing, and then she kills him.
Or it's actually David Tennant with a beard.
Stop it. Let me do my thing. It could be. I like beard. I need a haircut, but anyway. But it doesn't matter. You don't care about my hair. I should wear a hat like him and hide. Anyway, but like do this whole thing where everybody believes it's him, and then he's like, oh, I'm still alive. She's forcing himself to dig up his own grave, and looks and sees that it's a different body, but it's the same body. Everything is the same, but he's still alive because if I tell you to do anything, I tell you, you have my exact powers. Everybody in the world, including yourself, you're going to believe you are me, everything I know. You're going to be able to control people and do everything I can. In theory, if anything he says happens and we'll do it, wouldn't it theoretically, in like superhero science, he could make somebody else have that power?
Here's my theory that's partially yours as well.
Cool. I like that.
Right?
I really like my theory.
So what do we know about Purple Man? He's a narcissist.
Purple.
He's
a man.
He's a man. He wears purple suits. He has controlling powers.
He goes to New York a lot.
Yes. But he's a narcissist, and he is someone who plans for everything. What if he had a almost like
LMD?
No, like an in case of my death plan imprinted on people's minds. Where, like, do you remember there was a story arc a couple years ago in Daredevil that Charles Soule wrote?
Okay.
With the purple children.
You told me about this. I know.
And
a couple years? I thought it was earlier.
A couple years.
Yeah.
It's been like 2 years. 2-3 years.
Okay, go ahead. I know what you're talking about.
So there was this arc in the Daredevil comic where they did a Purple Man arc in the Daredevil comic, which was fucking awesome.
So good.
where Daredevil is in San Francisco, and the literally Purple Man's kids, who have partially, like, each of them have a section of power like Purple Man. Almost like if you think, like, in Star Wars, Luke Skywalker and Leia, if they come together, they're supposed to have the all power of Vader, but separate, they're weaker than Vader. The kids come to Daredevil for help because the Purple Man is still alive, and he's, like, in some weird scientific, like, Bacta tank, and almost like he's going to regenerate and come back and control everything, but we have to stop him. What if they had a Jessica season 4 was like that, where you either have the purple children, like his actual kids, come out of the woodwork, and, like, a couple of them are evil and a couple of them aren't, but she can't figure out which is which.
What's what?
And some of them are trying to bring him back. Like, they get his body after she kills him, and they're trying to bring him back with their power.
The purple that she saw could be one of the good kids trying to get her attention.
Or one of the bad ones, like, with their plan ready to go after her.
Oh, wow.
They killed our dad, and we're still... And you think he's gone, but they bring him back.
Bring him back. Ooh.
That could be a Jessica season 4 of, like, hey, you had the purple kids. You could bring in the fucking Defenders if you wanted for that. Like, you have, like, 6 of them. All right, maybe just Luke Cage and Daredevil, but, like,
and Danny and just the Defenders. Just bring them. Just bring the gang around for tea and crumpets.
For tea and crumpets. But, like, you could totally do that with, like, that light being, like, Purple Children arc, or the Return of Purple Man based on his kids, or followers that he implanted in his head. Like, maybe he implanted a scientist in Marvel to bring him back. Like, in case I die, you need to get my body at any means, like, no matter the cost, and bring you back to life, no matter how hard it is. Like, that will be your only purpose in life.
And he's done that to all the coroners to allow it to happen.
Yes.
They could walk in.
And he has this plan of action that was in effect, almost like his, like, written will before he died, like a just in case, because he would have something like that.
Hear me out. What if it's not Jessica Jones season 4? What if it is Heroes for Hire season 1?
Okay.
And we lead up to that. So, like, we see, like, these events are happening, and somebody hires the heroes, or, like, they go out and start doing this to try to investigate it, and then Luke Cage gets a hint, like, wait, this might be Purple Man. Like, for some reason, he thinks that, brings Jessica in, and they consult.
I'd rather be more Jessica focused.
All right, fair enough.
Personally,
I do too.
But
I was just trying to see if we could get Heroes.
No, like, you could totally have, like again, that when in season 1 when Luke came in, like, we saw Luke first in Jessica, not Heroes.
True.
So when he comes in and he has to fight her, and that was a great part of season 1 where Purple Man has control over him, which kind of broke up their relationship, right? Like,
yeah.
Because it was like, why weren't you honest with me about this guy to begin with? I think that would be a huge part of it. I think if you brought in that aspect,
you feel the tension, and that's how they start together. He's like, I feel something. I don't know what it is.
And Jessica, like, doesn't want to admit it, even though she felt it at the end of season 3. And she's like, no,
that's how you do it. That's how you do it.
And she ignores it, and it keeps getting worse. And then until, like, everything blows up in her face.
I like that.
That'd be cool.
All right.
Anyway.
How do we fix Iron Fist? No, we don't have any more time.
But anyway, I thought Jessica's arc was really good.
Yes.
In season 3.
Fantastic, man.
Fool Killer, we got to talk about. Can't not talk about Fool Killer.
We didn't talk about Fool. We talked about him, but not about
him.
What do you think of him taking the pictures of the victims?
Creepy.
And, like, how to get their, like, who they really are.
Dude.
I liked how Jessica, like, found his first kill. It was like, oh, he made a mistake.
At the parents' home, and it was
right under their steps the whole time.
Once they showed the picture of the gazebo, and on the back it said, like, Nathan will always be with you. I'm like, he's under the fucking gazebo. Wow. Like, me and Erica both knew immediately. I'm like, he buried him under the gazebo, and then she, like, lifts it over.
I like how the lady cop was like, stop it. She's like, shut up.
Yeah, just like, shut up.
I got let me do this. Hold on.
And she just punches the ground and it breaks.
That was cool. I like that.
I love that whole, like, again, all the investigative stuff is awesome.
He had the camera in the tank to try to figure things out.
And when she get locked in the tank and then the gas came out and all the dead bodies were in there. That was great. That's how, like, the episode ends and stuff. Like, that was really good. I loved how intelligent he was about, like, getting out of things. I loved their wrestling match in front of the kids.
When they first got introduced, and he was like, stop. But now I have it on camera that a pirate person tried to attack me. I'm like, you are psychotic and brilliant.
Yep.
This is great.
Yep. That was awesome.
The wrestling was great. He's like, oh, I lost, but really I won. She's like, he was such a great villain.
He was good. And I like that he was kind of like this normal guy who was just, like, smarter and psychotically broken based on what happened to him as a kid.
I like how he almost controlled Hogarth.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I remember you're not the only one with the law degree. Like I could, like this is what we should do.
Exactly.
Like you need me more than I need you because of the whole, her, what we said before, her breaking down Keith's husband, brought her down company wise. She needed a popular.
Yeah,
client.
Her firm was hurting.
Yeah,
and they were bleeding clients, and he was, we knew that's why Hogarth basically went to be hired by him because she needed that publicity.
Yeah.
I thought he played it really well where, Jessica's in this, he sees her across the street and he has the people go, all the reporters are running towards her.
Oh, he was brilliant.
He played it really well.
What's your favorite scene with him?
Probably when he's interrogating Eric.
Yeah, it's my favorite scene.
And he's going, his psychosis is so powerfully, he thinks he's so smart, but his psychosis is still controlling him. Mm-hmm. Where Eric is trying to delay him, and he's asking him about his brother, and he's like, "I know you're just trying." He's like, "Oh, buying for time," but then talks about it anyway.
Yeah,
because he's so cocky and arrogant that he has to talk about. You know what I mean?
Typical villain. Typical villain.
I thought that was really good.
When Eric was like, "Oh, I'm hurting because I'm getting near," he's like, "I have this effect on you, you cheater,"
and he realizes it,
and then he goes up to him, makes him bleed, and he's like,
and he keeps touching him to make
exactly, but he doesn't view it as I'm bad. He's just like, I'm that good.
Yes,
he flipped it. Just like Trish did. See,
yep.
A smarter man made the same mistake. Trish is alright. She's dumb, but she made the same mistake.
I just wish they gave more depth to Trish, and I would have liked it better. I thought Dorothy's arc this season was really good.
Dorothy was good.
I liked seeing the background stuff
yep.
with her dad, and then Trish talking to Malcolm about what her dad was really doing and how she set up her dad to go to jail.
Smart.
Was crazy.
Dorothy, getting her
beaten.
Into acting was great.
Yep.
I love that we got that backstory. That should have gave me the hint, we're seeing all this. She's probably dead.
Yeah.
But it didn't. In hindsight, I'm like, yeah, that's usually what happens.
Even the stuff with Dorothy trying to reconnect with her in real time and getting back to, you need to have some type of career. You need this, this is what you do. You need some type of career. You need to do this. And she got her on that show while Trish was doing whatever she was doing at night. I liked all that stuff. I just, and Dorothy finally croaking was crazy powerful up to her eulogy when even you see a moment Jessica kind of breaks down and has a moment of grief too, because regardless of how they felt to each other, Dorothy helped raise Jessica too.
Yeah.
So I thought
Jessica lost two moms essentially.
Yeah. So I really liked the episode where you had Jessica's point of view while she was protecting Trish, and then Trish's point of view.
That was good because you saw more behind the scenes, oh, this is what really happened.
Yep, and this is what happened on the other side of this. And then
how Jessica got arrested because Eric had a call and was working with her.
That was cool. And yeah, I liked a lot of it. It was just the Trish part. So
overall, I think we both are in agreement. This season was great.
Yeah, it was a good season. I still think season 1 was better because of Purple Man.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, David Tennant, Purple Man.
But although that doesn't take anything away from Salinger.
This is very close
the full
for
killer.
Me.
This was it to me. It'd be season 1, 3, then 2 being the worst.
Yeah. What would you rate this? Scale 1 to 10.
I think I rated season 1 around an 8.5 back in the day. When we did that.
Did you? I don't know.
I would have to give this one a 7.5.
I'm saying 8.
I'm saying 7.5. Again, I always grade 10 and reduce. And I think the blatant stuff with Trish that really bothered me.
It annoyed me, yeah. Luke Cage being wasted.
Also,
Malcolm, I thought
I didn't know how I felt about Jessica's secretary.
She was fine.
She was okay and fine, and
a little sassy.
Yeah, which is fine because Jessica needs that. But then it was all right, you're also useless at the same time, and I don't care. Also,
you need to fill the roster.
But we saw Vito in the beginning. And we got the flashback of the Spanish guy who lives downstairs, and then nothing.
And the Spanish guy's like, "Oh, you're happy now? Okay, cool."
Yeah. Oh, I'm dating someone. Bye.
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of sucky. I like Vito because he was funny and snarky.
They kind of wrote him out. They were like, "All right."
No, they wrote him out. They wrote them out. They didn't kind of wrote them.
Yeah. They were like, "Oh, we're not gonna have a scene that resolves this."
Yeah.
And how everything was good. We're just gonna fast forward and be gone.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes that happens. I get it, but I was a little upsetting.
Yeah. So I certain things the those are knick-knacky things.
But
the
you
Trish
tell
line really ruined
you
it
could
for
tell
me.
it was a time skip.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah,
so it was a small time skip.
Yeah.
I don't know how many months later, but
yeah,
so I get it.
but that stuff. I actually started liking this Eric's sister when she moved in with Malcolm.
She
She
was
was
banging him.
she was like giving him money for food and stuff. Like she was turning her life around. I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, it was
I
nice.
kind of wanted more of the Eric stuck with that crazy woman stuff. Remember the one that Trish stabs in the chest with a
I thought
crowbar?
that ended a little quick.
That ended pretty quick.
They made Eric I thought he was going to be bigger, but then he was like, all right, Trish is really the main point. We're going to make Eric smaller.
Yeah, which was fine, but again,
she killed with the crowbar.
Overall solid season.
Yeah.
Just the Trish stuff really bothered me. So 7.5.
Here's my question.
Yeah.
Let's say we have somebody watching right now.
I hope we do.
Me too. Who hasn't watched any of Jessica Jones?
Yes.
After watching 1, 2, and 3,
mm-hmm.
are you going to tell them to watch all 3?
Yes.
You're going to tell them to watch 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 3, 1, none, some?
No, I would definitely. I would
recommend all of it.
Even if I didn't like a show or a movie at all, even if I hated it and I was like, I'm never watching this again, always, if you have some type of interest to it, always watch it for your own opinion. It could be I could not like something and you could think it's the greatest thing ever. You could love something and I absolutely hate it. But if it means something to you, watch it. Always get your own opinion on it. Always, have your own take. You could think of something we've been talking about this right now for about a half hour. You could think of something like, hey, you guys didn't touch upon this. Let us know.
Yes.
And we could talk about it.
Of course.
You know
let
what
us know down in the comments anything we didn't talk about.
Yeah.
But
it could be a view that we haven't we haven't thought of yet. So if you have an interest in Jessica Jones, you're like, man, I read the Bendis comics, and I really like the character in the comics, and I want to check out the show. I just haven't had time. And you want to watch it? Watch it.
I feel like if you want to watch a superhero detective, this is what you watch. Not counting Batman, who's a regular man, but somebody with powers.
But with TV,
And TV.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely worth it.
Or watch Batman the Animated Series.
Oh yeah, but we're talking about this.
Yeah.
This is the point of the show.
Definitely watch it. And again, this is at the same time, this is the end of a great era of television and a great era of content, a great era of Marvel. These Marvel Netflix shows really broke the mold of what. Without this, you're not looking at DC Universe dark TV shows.
Very true.
You know what I mean? You're not.
Daredevil was the one
that
broke the ground.
Exactly, and with this, you're still looking at okay, the best shows we got are the CW Universe, Arrow, Flash stuff,
True.
right? Or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever.
These broke the ground for the
them
nittier, grittier, superhero, comic book inspired TV shows that we are getting more and more of today,
and taking them seriously, which is what fans like us of comics cry for.
This
just
helps
take the content seriously.
with the CW as the initial seed, and this being the catalyst. Let's say this is the sun and the water for the plant of the seed. This helps bring superhero comic book TV shows into light, into becoming more mainstream, and it being on a platform like Netflix makes it easily acceptable. That's why we have Umbrella Academy is doing well. People are asking me more about the DC Universe app. People are becoming more and more integrated into this. You wouldn't believe how many people are watching Umbrella Academy just because it's on Netflix and they've watched Daredevil. And they have no idea about comics. It's great. So this is a great time to be alive as a comic book fan.
Yes.
As a superhero fan. As an entertainment fan, as a person.
And we really, I know I do, and I know you do too, we hope that down the line, whether Disney does its app and they put it on there, or, they're stocking Hulu, they put it on Hulu. Hulu's already said they're more than happy to take those shows.
It's going to go on Hulu.
I hope so. I really do, because it was an amazing era of television, an era which, honestly, we never thought we'd see. An Iron Fist television show.
Raw.
No one thought you'd see that. No. Some people didn't want to, but again,
wasn't that bad.
A Defenders TV show, a Luke Cage show, a Jessica Jones, a Daredevil TV show would be the most commonwealth.
I'm thinking it's going to go on Hulu because they're doing the dark side, and they're going to connect.
I hope so. And they're keeping Runaways on Hulu too.
Oh, Runaways is so good.
And I really hope it continues, because you're talking about an awesome era of TV on your streaming comic books, your streaming story arcs. They're taking major story arcs from some of the most famous comics. You're like we said, no DC Universe without this. So awesome. And thank you. And a thank you.
And guys, that wraps up this episode of the Jersey Comic Krew. Thank you for watching our review of Jessica Jones Season 3. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms. The links are down below. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Keep the conversation alive. Like we said earlier in this episode, give us comments down below of what you thought of the episode. What is your personal rating? And if we missed something that you want to talk about. If you were watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Make sure you hit that subscribe, smash that like button, and hit that bell so you get notifications. And if you're listening to this on, Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcast, thank you so much. Make sure you like, comment, share, send this to everybody. And as always, I'm Rob Moran.
And I'm Chris Heller.
And we'll see you next time.